Hello everyone, my name is Kolawale Ayodele James, and today we are going to be discussing about exploratory data analysis, and we are going to be using Anaconda Pandas. We're going to be using Jupyter Notebook, right, to be able to analyze our data sets. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to do. All right, the first thing that we're going to do is to open. Of course, you can see that I've downloaded my Anaconda, and you can download it from the website, Anaconda website. Okay, so you're going to launch Jupyter Notebook, and for those who are not familiar with this Anaconda, it actually encompasses a lot of very valuable applications that you can use to do a lot of things. For example, you can see this is our studio. Our studio is an application that you can use to run your R programming. Okay, and of course, you can see for those who are into web development, you can see that you have a VS Code here, one of the very valuable tools that you can use to develop your applications and develop your websites and your app and others. Of course, you can see that you have a lot of other things like the Python here, and of course, the Jupyter Lab itself, and then you have an Apple notebooks. All right, but I've actually chosen the Jupyter Notebook, and I've launched it, and it's going to come up on my screen. And of course, this is a student performance. This student performance is a valuable data set that I actually got from Kaggle. Kaggle is one of the very important website that you can use to generate to get your data sets for a lot of work or projects. All right, the first thing we're going to be, I'm going to try as much as possible to cover a lot of these of the solutions, and I believe that by time doing data analysis, you actually need to uh, practice practicing solutions or practicing projects or working on a project actually gives you the opportunity to be able to learn faster than doing the fundamentals or the theories. So I think it's one of the very important ways of learning. One of the important libraries that we use in data science is pandas, of course. So the first thing we're going to be doing right now, all right, is to import pandas as PD, right? So of course, before that, let me just introduce you to the environment of Jupyter Notebook. Of course, this is file. All right, probably you want to save a file. You want to save as you want to rename the file. Of course, you can come here to come to rename your file with any name you want to do. All right, so you can type the name here, click on it, and then click on rename or you cancel. All right, you have save here. Save. You can see you want to add. For example, if you're here now, you want to add a new cell. You click on these, and then you're going to have a new cell here. And then click on this, and you're going to add a new cell here. If you want to delete it, you click on it, and then you delete. And then you select these, and then you delete. Sorry, you select these, and then you delete. All right, and here you have copy selected cells. Okay, come here, you want to copy everything, copy selected cells, and then probably if you have another cells here, and then you want to paste. All right, you can see paste here. All right, so let's copy cut this. Right, for example, if you want to run, you have a code here you want to run, you can click on run. It's going to run. All right, so I'm going to delete these because I already run here. All right, you want to something is wrong, you want to interrupt, you can click on this to interrupt. All right, for example, you're here now, this is code. Okay, if you create another cell, let's click on another cell, and then you want to like give some information on what you actually intend to do here. All right, let's say you want to load data sets. right? You actually use these. You don't use the code because by the time you say it's a given error, by the time you use Control Enter to run, or you run by clicking on this, you get an error. Right? But if you change this to Markdown, right, it will let us to understand that you are not actually running the code here. You're trying to explain what you want to do after the after this cell. All right, so you can insert cell above, or you can insert cell below, depending on what you want. I don't want that, so I'm gonna cut it. Cut it, and basically, okay, those are the things that you actually will be required to have a grasp of before you can actually effectively use these Jupyter Notebook. So without much ado, let's go straight to our project today. And our project today is going to be on student performance data set. And for those who are data science enthusiasts, so you can actually learn a little things here. And I believe that I'm going to try as much as possible to cover a lot of ground. And if I'm not able to cover a lot of ground here, I'm going to actually have to divide this video into two parts or three parts, depending on how long this tutorial is, because I don't actually want it to spend too much time on the tutorial. So let's get started. Okay, first thing first, we're going to import pandas as PD. All right, you can import pandas, but basically by the standards is actually we want to import pandas. You say import pandas as PD. Now, okay, of course, I can say insert columns above, or let's say import libraries. Okay, so I'm going to come here and change it to Markdown, right? So that I can be able to let people know that this is not a code. This is I'm trying to introduce what I'm going to do here. So now, of course, you can see that we have data is equal to PD. Now, meanwhile, if you want to comment out a particular code, okay, you can use hash. You can put hash on the front. If I want to remove the comment, I'll remove the comment. If I want to comment it, put hash there. All right, so you have data is equal to pd.read underscore csv, and then I'm going to open brackets and put this r there. Then you now see C colon. This is going to be the source of the file. All right, and how do I get to the source? For example, if you want to make a source, you can just go to the data science. All right, this is actually on my desktop. All right, if I want to make this to be the source, this book sales search.csv, I'm going to right click on it, and then I'm going to say copy as path. Copy as path. All right, and I'm going to come to where I want to see here, and I'm going to say, let's say I say checking is equal to pd.read underscore csv, then open quotation, then r here. We're going to Control V. All right, and then I'm going to say enter. I think there is book sales. Okay, there's a mistake here. All right, I think it's going to be 2. It was 2 instead of 1, so I'm going to say enter. So now I'm going to say checking dot edge and then enter. So it's going to load the checking for me, but all right, this is the data set of these book sales or CSV, but actually I'm not interested in this. So I'm going to delete it. All right, so I'm going to delete it, and we are actually doing data is equal to pd underscore csv, pd.read underscore csv. Okay, open quotation, open parenthesis r, then also open bracket, then you have r, then you have open quotation, and then you copy the source, all right, of your data sets. If it's in your desktop, you put it on the desktop. If you want to use it in your downloads, okay, you copy it, and then you say data. You can say data. You can say you can use any name here to, all right, to represent what you want to do. But the important thing is that you want to copy, want to check it, want to access these student performance of CSV file. All right. If peradventure you want to read an Excel file, the same thing you're going to do is PD is going to data is going to PD that's reading also CSV. All right. Open quotation. Okay. Open parenthesis or open bracket. So you copy this. Right. You can say COVID det.xlsx. If it is an HTML file, okay, you can use this. If it is a JSON file, you can use this. If it's an SQL file, you can use this. But right now we are actually using CSV. All right, and that is what we have done right here. All right, so wherever the file is, just go there and copy it. Okay, let me check students. Okay, this is the student performance where I'm copying. So I was copying. So you right click and then you go to copy, copy as path. All right, copy as path, or you can actually go to show more options and go to properties. All right, and you go to properties and then you go to okay, this is go to details, I guess. Okay, details. This is the file location. All right, you can copy this file location also from here. All right, C colon users blah 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 blah, and then of course that is how to actually copy. And this is also the location. You can select it from here. All right, again copy here, go to C, and then you're gonna paste it right um on your Jupyter notebook. All right, and then of course here we have data.head, then open quotation, and let me just say data.head. All right, and then you control enter, or you run. It's going to show me exactly what I actually want to do. To run this, you click on this and then you say run, or you click on here and you say control enter, and then you're going to have it run for you. So so this is the data set that we're actually going to be dealing with. You have gender, you have the race, ethnicity, you have the parental level of education, you have lunch, you have test preparation, you have math score, the reading score, and the writing score, of course. So the most important thing is if you use head is going to give you the first 5 rows of the data set. All right, and if you use tail is going to give you the last 5 rows of your data set. All right, okay, if you want to check the first 20 rows of the data set, you can use data.head, then you put 20 here. All right, so if you want 10, you can just put 10 here and then you run it. All right, you put 10 here, and okay, and then you run it. It's going to give you 10. So instead of 20, it's going to give you 10. So you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you got up to 9. Okay, so it's on Python indexing starts with 0, not 1. So you have 0. So this is the first 10 rows of your data set. And then of course you want to check if you want to check the last 10 rows of the data set, of course you know there's going to be data.tail, then you open bracket and then you put 10 there. That's going to give you the last 10 rows of the data set. Right. However, if you use data and you run it, it's going to give you the first 5 rows and the last 5 rows of the data set, and then there's going to be a lot of truncated values here. Okay, there are so many other values here. This means truncation, right? So that's what it's going to give you. It's going to give you 1,000 rows and 8 columns. So it's telling you that we have 1,000 rows and 8 columns here for the data set. Of course, this is what I was talking about. You say you want to check the last 10 rows of the data set, you use data.tail. Okay, open bracket and then you put 10 there. So it'll give you the last 10 rows. All right. So okay, I'm not going to cover this yet, but what this is actually trying to tell us is that peradventure you want to find the average, average of these math score, reading score, and the writing score. Right. So you want to duplicate. We don't want to tamper with our data sets, but we want to duplicate the data set. So we can say data1 is equal to data.copy. Okay, open and close parentheses or open and close brackets. So we have data. So you have data.head. It's going to give you this. All right. So we have data1 is equal to data.copy. All right. So you have what the information you have in data1 is same thing you have in data. Right. So it's just like you're duplicating, but you are giving it a new name. Right? So you can have data one. Now you want to create another column. All right. Okay, you initially have 8 columns, and how do you know that you have 8 columns? All right, let me create another. Of course, we're still going to get there, but let me create another cell here. Let's say data dot shape. Data dot shape is going to tell me, okay, the exact number of columns and rows that I have on my data set. So, like I said, data dot shape is going to be 1000 to 8. This is the number of rows and this is the number of columns. So you have 1000 rows and 8 columns. So that's going to show me that, that's going to tell me that now we are here now. We've already duplicated this data, all right, and we have labeled it with data one. So you want to create another column, all right, and name it average, all right. So what you do is that you can say data one, open quotation, sorry, or curly bracket here. This is a bracket here. Average is equal to data one dot math, all right, plus data one math score dot reading score plus data one dot underscore writing score. All right. If you actually notice this thing very well, you discover that there's no space between this math score, because there's math underscore score, there's reading underscore score, there's writing underscore. Now, for example, now what we actually want to do is that we want to show you. I want to show you that the difference between when you are using this data one, then you have bracket average score, and when you are going to be using data one dot math score, there's actually a lot of difference there, and that's actually what I want to show you. Now there's average spacebar score here. All right, now I want to create a new column that is not going to be connected, okay, using underscore or using dash. All right, so that I will be able to explain to you, okay, how you can be able to reference your columns in any data set. So we have data one average score is equal to data one dot math underscore score plus data one dot reading underscore score plus data one dot writing underscore score. Then you now put them all of this in the bracket and you now say divided by 3. All right. So I'm actually creating the average score, and I'm also creating the total score. All right. Data one, then data score is equal to data one dot math score plus data one dot reading score plus data one dot writing score. All right. So let me just check data one now. Now you can see here we have writing the score. Now we have the average score here, right? And we have the total score here. Right. Now this average score is separated, is not linked by underscore. All right, and it is not linked by dash. All right. Now if I actually want to check the, let me show you how to check the how to access the reading score here. All right, let's come here right now. Let's say data dot reading underscore score. It will show me all the data in the reading score. All right, if I actually do the same thing with race dot, I say dot race underscore ethnicity, it will show me the same thing. This is group B, group C, group B, and so on and so forth. So this is actually truncated, but I can say the same thing. I can say data one, data dots. I can say, let me say data one dots average score. Okay, to give me an error. It will give me an error because there's a space between this particular column heading. There's a space there, and Python is not going to give you. Python is going to yell at you. It's going to make an error. All right. So because there's a space there, it is not linked together with an underscore or with a dash. All right. So if you want to reference this average score, what you can do is to say data one, you know, open a bracket, then colon, you quote it, you now use average score, and then you are going to get your results. Right, the same thing with this total score. Total score also has a space between them, so you cannot use data one dot um, total score. Right, you can only use data one, then you open bracket, then you open a quotation, and then you put total score there. Okay, let me just use total score as well, and let's see what happened. Total score. All right, you can see now that it's actually giving me the results. However, if you have something like data one, then you now open quotation, which is, you can say race underscore ethnicity. Okay, okay, there's a problem here. Okay, the problem here is there's no quotation here. Okay, if you do that, it's going to give you the results. All right, it's going to give you the results. So you can actually you can do it like this. But when you have a column heading that has a space between them, then you must use a column bracket, a bracket like this, and is it column bracket or bracket, whatever this bracket, all right, not the normal bracket, but these are like a column or, or, kind of bracket, all right, and then you have quotation here. If it is something like a data one dot gender, things that it's actually very easy. You can use dot. You can use dot for these ones because they are actually being connected with underscore. So I'm sure you actually get what I'm trying to explain here. All right. So this is not actually supposed to be part of a training, but I'm just trying to let you know that for you to be able to reference any column or any column, you need to be able to understand what we are saying. So you want to reference this, you can use dot gender, you can use dot race, ethnicity, you can use dot parental level of education, you can use dot launch, because they have just one single, they are linked together. The two names are linked together with underscore. So we assume that they are just one word. But when you're talking about average score, which is space bar here, right, you need to be able to put them inside a bracket before. If not, you're going to get an error. Now, another thing you should understand is that, for example, if I want to reference this average score, so average score, if I say average score, it's going to generate, there's going to be an error here. All right. The reason is because you can see this average. This average starts with capital letter, and this score starts with capital letter. But however, I use the small letter s here. All right. If I use turn into capital letter S and I run it, it's going to give me my result. But if I use a on a small letter a and I say it's going to tell me that it's going to give me an error, and the error is it's going to tell keyword average score. It doesn't understand. There's not like average score here with a small letter here or with a small letter here. All right. So what you can do is just to add the capital letter, because this A is capitalized, is in uppercase, and this S is also in uppercase. So if you are going to be referencing your columns, you need to understand the fact that the what it actually understands is if you want to reference this launch now, for example, if you say data one dot launch, all right, with a capital L, and then you run it, it's going to yell at you. It's going to tell you that there's nothing like that here. Okay, data frame object has no attribute launch. All right, with a capital L. When you remove it and then you use a small L, of course you're going to get your result here. So you have launch, which is standard, reduce, and so on and so forth. So you have that. All right, it's just for your own for your consumption. Right. So we have data average score. So this is how you reference any column heading that has space within them. Right. But if you're talking about a column heading that doesn't have space, you can either use these or use dots to access them. All right. So let's continue our topic. So we have data dot columns. Right. If you want to know the number of columns that is in your data sets, right, you can say data dot columns. It's going to tell you that we have gender, you have race, ethnicity, you have parental level of education, you have lunch, you have test preparation, you have math score, reading score, and then writing score. Mind you, we don't have we don't have uh, average score and total score. And the reason why we don't have average score and total score is because it belongs to data one. You remember the first time we want to do this, we duplicated data and we put it as data one, right? And that the reason why we do that is so that we will not be able to tamper with our data set. I just want to just explain some certain things for you before we proceed in our training. All right, so that's why we. But if you say data one dot columns, all right, it's going to give you. So if you say data one dot columns, it's going to give you average score and total score. But we are not interested in this data one. We are only interested in data dot columns. So we're going to have just the reading score, the math score, and the writing score. All right. Like I said, for example, let's continue our training. You have data gender dot unique. All right. This unique tells us it lets us know the unique data, the unique data in those in the columns gender. All right. For example, you have if you go to you scroll up now right now, all right, and then you go to gender, you can see female, 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 male, male. Okay. You want to be sure the unique data in these under this column gender. All right. So all you can do is just to go to data, then you say gender like this dot unique, or you can use data dot gender. Like I said before, you know that this gender is just only one word, so you can use dot for it. All right. Dot unique is going to give you the same thing, but you can see that I actually have commented this thing out, so it's actually going to run this. So of course I can also comment these out and run this. It's going to give me the same thing. So you have male and female. So we only have two genders in our data set, which is male and female. Right. So you have that, of course. Now you want to know the number of unique um, data in this gender. You can use n unique. Right. So you have data, right, n dot n unique, then open parenthesis or open the bracket and close it, and then you have two. So when you run this, you have two. Okay, you can also do the same thing with data dot parental level of education dot unique. All right, it tells you that you have. Let's run this. Okay, by using Control Enter. It tells you that you have bachelor's degree, some degree, master's degree, associate degree, high school, some high school, and so on and so forth. All right, so this tells you that you have one, two, three, four, five, six. We have six different um, unique names under the parental level of education. All right, you can do it like this, and you can also open brackets for these, and then you put it, and then you get the right answer. All right, so you have six different unique informations under these. Okay, under these column heading, parental level of education. Right, you can also have data dot parental level of education dot value count. Okay, this value count tells us the number of uh, the number of times these information come. So we have some education tells us that we have 226. Okay, there are some education. Okay, on the associate degree it is 222. On the high school it is 196. On the some high school is 179. On the bachelor's degree is 118. On the master's degree is 159. This analysis is actually very fast. Just with a single line of code, you can actually get a lot of information from it. Unlike having to use Excel and start looking for them, or using Microsoft Access to start counting names or counting them one by one, just a single line of code is going to get you the results you're actually looking out for. So that's why using Jupyter Notebook or using Python to analyze a data set is actually very key and very important. Okay, so you have, of course, I've done this before. If you want to know the shape of your data, you can use data. Shape tells you that the information about data. Maybe probably you want to get the information about the number of data, the number of your columns, and the number of rows. tells you that you have 1000 rows and 8 columns. Okay, this is ending. All right, number of dimensions, of course, we have 2. Of course, we're going to learn more about this when we are moving to Mark 6 and matrix, and when you are doing your when you are doing your machine learning, you're going to actually learn more about ending. Right. So we actually going to also be doing some things here. For example, if you want to know uh, the number of people who belongs to group D under race ethnicity. Okay, because if you check the race ethnicity, you have group A, you have group B, you have group C, you have group D. All right. So now we're going to be doing querying. For example, if you actually used to use if you're used to uh, Microsoft uh, Microsoft Access or Microsoft Excel, you actually going to know how to like query. Right? You can actually with just a singular of code, you can actually query your data sets, no matter how large or bulky they are, and it's going to give you the accurate answer. Right? So you have okay. So what we are going to be doing is that first, okay, we're saying data, all right, dots. Okay, let me change this data dot race ethnicity. All right, data dot race ethnicity. When you say that the race ethnicity and you select it, it's going to give you those informations under the race ethnicity. All right, but you want to know those ones that belongs to group D. All right, equal to right, okay, equal to let's look at how it has been written here. Group D, you can see group starts with uppercase and B starts with lowercase. So let's use group B. Group B, all right, is equal to group B, all right, and then when we enter this, you're going to have Boolean figures, which is going to be true or false. Right, but we actually don't need this true or false information. So we want the data complete. We want to have the data of every the data set of those whose race ethnicity are group B. So we're going to use data, all right, and open quotation, open this bracket and close it here. So we're going to run it, and it's going to give us all the data set of everybody, okay, whose uh, race ethnicity is group B. You can also change this if you want to group A. All right, you can see that we have 190. The 190 people are group uh, group B. So let's use group C and let's run it. All right, so we have 319 people. Okay, belongs to group C. So these are the ways by which you can use to to analyze your data set or to query your data set to be able to get some kind of insight or some kind of information about that. All right, so that is that about that. Okay, of course, you want to know the number of data sets whose ethnicity are equal to D. Of course, instead of you to do it like this, you can also use this method. All right, and say um, data that now this len is going to tell me the number of people, okay, who are group D. All right, okay, for example, this is 319 rows and 8 columns. For example, if I want to check the number of people, instead of me to get the information about all of them or the data sets, all right, what I will just do is that I will just open quotation here, so close in and open here, and then I will now use len is going to give me, see, I have 319. Right. If I remove this bracket and I remove this line and I run it, of course, if you check um, here, you see that I have 319 as well. So okay, of course, you can also use your value count, like we did before, to also, all right, check your information. So okay, let me just do something. Let me just do it like that, and let me say data dot race underscore ethnicity, all right, dot value underscore counts, and then run it. So you can see how we have group C is 319, like I said before. You have group D is 262, you have group B is 190, and then and that. So that's actually how you do that. Right. For those who are into Python, or you probably have some little understanding of Python, of course, this is not going to be very difficult for you. All right. So I'm just trying to print, all right, print F. Okay. The total number of people in group D column learn blah 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 blah. All right. Don't be scared of these. Of course, we're still going to get to these, but but that is going to be uh, in much more in future tutorials. Right. So, but for example, if you want to write something like this, or as you say print, you put F here, and then you do it this way. But like I said, you know, don't be scared. This is actually going to be what we are going to explain in future tutorials. Right. So to get some insight about a data set, you can just use data.describe. Data.describe tells you, okay, get information about the count. Okay, the count is for all of them, for all the uh, arithmetic data in a data set. So it tells us that we have math score, you have reading score, and you have a writing score. So it helps us to do the calculations here. Count is 1000. The mean of this math score is 66. The mean of this reading score is 69, and the mean here is 68. But this is the standard deviations, and this is the minimum. All right. So we can tell from here that the minimum score for math is 0. So someone scores 0. That's wonderful. No, that's not wonderful. That's terrible. Right. So you have the reading score. Reading score is 17, and then the writing score, the minimum is 10. Right. So but the 25 percentile, all right, 57 and 59 and 57. So the 50th percentile and then 75 percentile. Then the maximum, okay, we have people that score 101. Right. So I think the maximum here is 100, and the minimum is 0. This minimum is 17, the minimum is 10. So it actually gives us the information about what actually goes on in our data sets. So I think if a good number of people passed, considering these this 75 percentiles and this 25 percentiles and there's this 50. A lot of people passed here because from what I'm seeing here, we have 79, we have 70, and we have 79, of course. So it's good. It's a very good score. All right. So we have data.info. It tells also some other information about data, like tells us the data type. All right. And then we have tells us that we have 100, 1000 non-null. So this non-null means that we have our data set is there's no blanks in a data set. There's no null numbers. There's no nulls. So all of them, they are already imputed. As in, you have data in all the rows of our data set, which is actually very good because for example, you need to actually have your data sets filled up. It actually gives you the for example, if you are training your data set, you need to make sure that your data set is actually contains some information, some data. All right, so we have data.dtypes. The types tells us the types of the data. We have a lot of we have data types in Python. We have the objects. You have objects. You have the integers. You have floats. You have integer 64. You have float 64. You have boolean, and you have some other data sets. But basically, it tells us this data type tells us the data types of our data sets. Okay, of our columns. Okay, this is gender. Gender is objects. Or you can say texts. All these are and these are integers. Okay, these are integers. Now, of course, you can have something like this: data.sum open parenthesis and close dot is null. All right. This tells us that we have tells us something that we need to know about our data set. This one tells us that we don't have any null numbers. All right. Of course, let's do some other. Let's say data dot is null. Okay. Dot sum. Okay. And let's open. All right. So this one also tells us that this gender has zero non-nulls, zero non-nulls data. Okay, so we have parental level is going to 0, launch is 0, and of course they are 0. So we are good to go. We have our data set filled up. to the brain without any issues there. So we have, let's continue our analysis. Okay, for example, if you want to know the number of people whose gender is female, like I did before, I think this actually is actually a little bit quite easy. Right? You have data and you have gender. Okay, is equal to female. Of course, you can also write like this. Let's comment this out and do some of that. Let's the data dot gender. Okay, is equal to uh, female. Okay, and it's gonna give us boolean, of course, but I want everything. I want the data. So I'm going to put this one. I'm going to say enter. So this tells me that we have 518 people that are female here. All right. There must be 518 people that are female. For example, you want to say data dot gender dot value underscore counts. Of course, tells me that we have 518 females and 484 males. Okay. Of course, you want to check the 200, from 250 column, the row 250 to row 260. You can use this with this method to do that. Right. Like you use this or you use this, it's going to give you the same thing, of course. Let me comment this out. All right, you have the same thing, and if you comment this out and then you open these, run this, you have the same thing. So, of course, this is good if you have for example, if you're running a data set and it has to do with currencies, all right, you're talking about, let's say you're talking about the high, the low, and then the close of your currency. Let's say you want to do it, run a data analysis to be able to make a predictions of what Euro USD is going to be in the next few days, and you want to do some analysis. You can actually use this lock, to be able to index, to get some index on the dates. Those dates is not going to be included in the columns. All right. So we're still going to get to these as we go. All right. You have, for example, I think we've done this before, but let's just no. We have check. Let's say check is equal to. Of course, you can use any name for whatever you want to do here. You have data, math score plus data reading score plus data writing score divided by 3 is greater than 90. Okay, so now what this is actually trying to do is that we want to know, all right, we want to add our data, all right, and we want to know the gender that scores greater than 90. Okay, so this dot gender dot value count gives us that we have 38 female scores greater than 90, and then 14 male scores greater than 90. Right. So you can also do it like this. Of course, we've done this before. Here the gender dot value count, which is actually going to give us female 518, male. So from here, we can actually say very much that a lot of female scores higher than 90 than males do by more than times 2. All right. Seriously, more than times 2. So we can actually conclude from here that females they perform excellently. Of course, if you can change this to let's say 70. Let's use 70, and then right. If you use this 70, you can see that female scores 269 female scores above 70, while 191 male scores above 70. All right. Let's change this to 80. 118 female scores above 80, while 80 male scores above 80. All right. But when you're talking about, let's say 95. Okay, 19 female scores above 19 female scores above 95, while 3 males only scores above 95. So these are the things. These are how you can be able to analyze your data set with just a single line of code to be able to know exactly what is actually wrong with your data set, or how to approach your data set. All right, so we have Of course, the value count, we've done this before. Race ethnicity dot value count to be able to know, we've done this before. We've done this in all right. So you can actually have some things done here. We have this is data head. This data head is going to give you the first two rows of your data sets, which is actually here. Now, okay, so we have data dot rename. Okay, let's rename columns is equal to uh, reading score. All right, reading score, and then you are changing it to reading score here. All right, but for example, let's say let's use these. Let's say R. Okay, let me use small letter R, and then but initially you have initially you have let's check this reading score. Reading score is small letter, right? And then this all these are small letters. So I'm going to change it to capital letter, right? So that reading score, score, writing, maths, score, parental, level of education, course, preparation, test, race, ethnicity. All right. So what this is actually trying to tell us is that it's trying to tell us we have data dot rename columns is equal to we have reading score. Of course, this is not going to reading score is reading underscore score. Writing score is writing underscore score. Math score is math underscore score. Parental level of education is parental underscore level of education. All right, and then we have tests, preparation, race, ethnicity. Let's use underscore. Okay, race underscore ethnicity. Okay, so we want to change it to let's use we want to change it to now let's put space between these ones instead of underscore. Okay, let's put space between them so that we'll be able to identify what we're doing and separate. What we're actually trying to do here is I want to rename the column headings. We want to rename this column headings from reading score to reading score with a space between them. All right, I want to make it to be in place is equal to true, meaning that we want to permanent the changes we've made. All right, so let's run it, and you can see that it has changed. All right, I think there should be a gender. All right, there's no gender here. We've changed everything except gender. So let me just Control C and Control V. So we have gender here. Gender. Okay, but we want to change this gender to gender. All right, so you have gender here. We have changed gender, but I don't like it the way it is here. So let me just use gender. So you want to change, okay, sorry, gender. Okay, sorry. Okay, this it has already been changed to this capital. So we're going to use gender. Okay, we're going to change. So we have this now. We've changed the, okay, this is test preparation. I think where's test preparation? test preparation course. Okay, test preparation. Okay, there's no course there. So we're going to change this test preparation to, okay, so that it's going to affect it, because we have test preparation, then, all right, so we are home and dry. Now we have that. So this is how to change the column headings. For example, you are not comfortable with the column headings of your data sets, okay, and you want to change it. Of course, you can change it here. So you can see here that it has actually been changed. All right, so you can change your data set, your column heading like that. All right, so and then you want to um, insert. Okay, you want to insert your you want to insert this cumulative score. All right, so this is actually one of the ways by which you can use to insert. We have talked about how we can do the insert previously, all right, but this is another way by which you can use to insert our cumulative score. All right, so you can say data.insert, then we have, if you count this, the number of rows here, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is going to be the 8. But like I said, anything in Python, you start from 0. All right, so you're going to put the data.insert, then you have here, which is going to be the 8. But then the name of the column is cumulative score. Then you now put comma. Then you now say data.math plus data.reading score plus data.writing score. Unfortunately, there's nothing like this again. For example, if you run this, you're gonna have a big error because there's nothing like math score again. Right? There's nothing like reading score. There's nothing like writing underscore score. There's like reading underscore score. Right? Because what we now have is this. Right? So what you just need to do is just to change everything. Right? So this is cumulative. You can say cumulative score. Then you clean this, then you now say data. If this, instead of using this data.math score, you can say data. You can say now um, maths score, okay, plus data plus writing score. So you have data math score plus data reading score plus data writing score. Okay, now we have divided by 3. So let me see. So let's run it. Let's see if there's any mistake. Okay, data insert 8 cumulative score, comma. Okay, I think it's in line 2. Okay, let me just okay, there should be a mistake from here. So we have divided by 3. Okay, we have I think it should be uh, 2. I think there should be a bracket here. The lot of this already exists. Okay, so I think we have that. So let's say data dot head. Let me share. Okay, so we have cumulative score. You cannot, it's actually telling me that I cannot insert cumulative score because it already exists. So you can actually, instead of you to use the other ones, you can do it like this. So you have data.head, and that gives you the cumulative score. So we can do cumulative score, and we can also do it the way we did it the other time, that we have data.cumulative score. And of course, this is how we're going to do that. So we have the type, right? Now we're talking about data frame. So the type of data is going to be data frame. Of course, we've actually talked about data.d type, d types, which is going to give us okay, but these are what we're talking about here. The type of our data is going to be, so we have data frame here. So the other head is most times you're going to need to actually get these, because most times you want to know what you're actually working on. All right, so you have this and that. Then you have data test preparation dot replace none to go to 0, in place 0, 0, in place 0, 0. Now, what this actually is telling us is that we have some informations on test preparation that is none, none, none. Okay, for example, if we want to check, let's use data dot, no, not dot right now, data. Then we have test preparation, test preparation. Okay, then we have dots, dot unique. So we can actually know. So we have none and we have completed. So we have let's use value count, value counts. Okay, so we have none, 642 none. We have completed. Okay, so but that is a problem here. We need to find a way to replace those NONE with 0. So we can say we have data test preparation dot replace. Okay, then we have none with 0, then in place is equal to true. So when you run this, of course you're going to have an error. Tell me what error is. The error is that we have changed this. We have changed this column heading to this. So we are going to have to come to this place and use P, and then remove these, and then we are going to do test with capital, and then we're going to use these, and then we're going to run it, and then it's going to give us an answer. So we have um, value count. So when you do the value count right now, you will discover that of course, like I said, we've changed this test operation to this. Right, value count. So we have 0. 0 is going to give us 642, and then completed is 358. So we don't have N or NE again. All right, so let's continue. All right, and we have data test operation dot replace completed with 1. Okay, for example, we want to change all those ones that are not completed with zeros, and those ones that are completed with 1. So we can say, we can use this. Of course, like I said, it's not going to give us P, so we're going to use P. We're going to clean these and use test. Test. Right, so test operation. Okay, and we're going to space here, and we're going to put these, and then we're going to use these. So run it. All right, so what we actually have done is that we have decided to change every NONE to 0 and every completed with 1. But like I said, right, if you don't have this in place, you're going to true there, it is not going to be saved on this test preparation. But when you use in place, it's going to true, it's going to be saved. All right. So we have now the value count is, now we have zeros. Zeros is then 1. We have 1 is on 358. All right. So we are going to be finishing these aspect of test student performance on this notes here. All right. Because I actually don't want this lecture to drag too much, and And I believe that you have been able to learn a little thing about how you to analyze data, how to analyze data using Jupyter Notebook. Thanks so much. And like I said before, subscribe and share. By the time you subscribe, you're going to be able to be one of the people that will be notified on the final aspect of these Jupyter Notebook for student performance. Right. Thanks and be blessed.